Hello po and good evening mga kaguro. Welcome po ulit dito sa ating review for numerical reasoning. This is Coach Faye and I will be joining you once again as we continue on our discussion for numerical reasoning. As we start, pakishare po muna ng ating location, kung from where po tayo nanonood at masugid na nagjo-join po sa ating review for numerical reasoning. So we have here from Dubai, Surigao, Bulacan, from Polomolok. And meron din tayo dito from Pangasinan. Wow, LPT na and mag-take ng civil service na exam. Ayan. So I believe we would be having some reviewers here na kukuha po ng civil service examination on August or licensure examination for teachers on September. Ayan po. So good evening po sa lahat and hello po. Pa-share po ng inyong location and if there's anyone here na naging part na po ng Gurong Pinoy at nakapasa na po, you could also share your testimonies and your experience in Gurong Pinoy para naman po maka-inspire tayo sa mga kapwa natin na nagre-review po dito ngayong gabi. So meron tayong, ayan, Cebu City for Civil Service, Bacolod, Tigbawan, Iloilo, ayan. Sige po. So as we wait for everyone else to join us, just a few more reminders sa mga kukuha po ng Civil Service Examination on August 2023. We are having our weekend online classes every 7 p.m. po. Itong ating review for the Civil Service Examination. At kung hindi pa po kayo part ng ating review group, please do message us directly sa atin pong Facebook page dito sa Gurong Pinoy para naman po meron tayong direct access doon sa lahat ng ating mga content. Kasi po, kapag hindi po kayo member ng group natin, yung access po ninyo sa mga videos ay limited lang. So, 1 hour lang ng videos at wala po tayong mga materials. So, kung gusto po ninyo ng full access sa materials and videos, please do message us directly and be a part of our review group para po unlimited access. You could also view yung mga past videos and past materials which would be big help po talaga para sa ating civil service examination review. Just to add po, meron din po tayong mga other review sessions such as yung social science na review every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and then yung atin pong mathematics review with Teacher Gon every Thursday 7 p.m. That will end next week na po. So kung hindi pa po kayo nakakapanood niyan, next week po, Tuesday and Thursday, meron tayong mga extra review sessions at 7 p.m. At pwede nyo rin naman po ma-access yung mga videos nung nakaraan doon po sa ating Facebook group. Ayan po. So sa mga hindi pa po part ng ating review groups for Civil Service Examination, do message us directly para po maka-full access tayo sa ating review materials. For those naman po na kukuha ng licensure examination for teachers, hello po sa ating Team Skinner. Ngayong gabi, good evening po sa inyong lahat. This weekend is a schedule for majorship mid-review ng ating Team Skinner. So, paki-review po sa mga Team Skinner natin dyan. Paki-check po ng inyong Facebook group kung ano po yung materials and schedule ninyo ngayon kasi baka po may iba po kayong dapat na pagtuunan ng inyong attention dahil majorship po yung review natin for Team Skinner ngayong gabi. Of course, welcome pa rin naman po kayo dito, pero paki-review po ng inyong Facebook group para sure tayo kung ano po yung dapat nating tuunan ng pansin ngayong gabi. For those of you who are going to take the licensure examination on September at hindi pa po kayo part ng ating Team Skinner, meron po tayong mga reviews for majorship, for general education, and also for professional education here in Gurong Pinoy. So please do message us directly to be a part of Team Skinner. You could get the full package or you could just get specific sessions lang. Like gusto mo majorship lang or gusto po ninyo professional education lang, you could also have those options. Just message us directly so that we could give you access and also we could include you in your in our Facebook group and you will have more materials and more comprehensive review sessions po. Ayan. So once again, good evening po, ladies and gentlemen. And ito po, clarify ko lang po yung schedule natin for our numerical reasoning. This is just your schedule with me for numerical reasoning. Of course, every weekend at 7 p.m., meron po tayong iba-ibang schedule for civil service exam review with other coaches. And then for LET examination naman po, meron po tayong different schedule din. And that would be almost every evening po. So, medyo comprehensive po yung review natin. So, sa mga kaka-join lang po, Miss Damara, you will have 1 hour access to our video. If you wish to get the full 2 hour review for tonight and access to other materials, please message us directly para maging part po kayo ng ating civil service examination. Ayan. Okay, so pag Team Skinner ends, pwede po kayo. If you're already part of Team Skinner, then you have full 2 hour access po. Don't worry about that. Because this exam ay para po both civil service examination and licensure examination for teachers and general education mathematics. May full access po tayo. But I believe meron po sigurong ibibigay sa inyo na exam para po start na po kayo ng preparation ninyo for your majorship. Okay. So ito po yung schedule natin. This is we are here at this portion na po tayo, June 24. This is our schedule and this is our first session na nakafocus po tayo doon sa may multiple choice problems. Kasi ito po yung dapat nating ipag-prepare for the actual examination, right? It will be multiple choice problems. In the past few sessions, what we did was first, you did your mock exam. So, diniscuss po natin yan lahat and that was in multiple choice questions po yung diagnostic test natin. Tapos, meron po tayong 2 sessions last June 10 and June 17 na yung ginawa po natin ay nag-focus tayo on specific topics, right? So, dahil specific topics po, may mga questions tayo na walang choices. More on understanding how to answer specific types of numerical reasoning items. Starting tonight, our focus is on multiple choice problems. Aside from learning po on various topics and seeing different types of questions na pwedeng lumabas sa CSE or LET Gen Ed, we are also going to focus more on how to answer them as fast or as quickly and as concisely as possible. Alam niyo po kasi when you're taking the examination, it's not just about getting the answer in the best way possible na dapat kumpleto yung method mo or dapat magaling ka. It's also mainly it's about managing your time very well. How do you manage your time so that you could answer the best or the fastest that you can, pero hindi po nako-compromise yung quality ng answer ninyo? Which means, mabilisan, pero tama pa rin po yung sagot. So that's what we will be focusing on the next 2 weeks. Okay po? So tonight is our first MCQ na focus and then next week po, yung second schedule natin on that. After that, sa August na po tayo magkikita-kita dahil ang weekend sessions po ninyo will be focusing on other topics that might be covered for CSE or general education. Ayan po. Okay? So we are going to focus on MCQ. As mentioned po, we are going to focus on answering items as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So wag po tayong ma-surprise if minsan hindi ko po tinatapos yung solution. Although I will show the full solution to you, pero we will focusing on identifying when should we do the full solution or when may mga certain methods na would make it faster or parang kaunting effort lang sapat na. Ayan. So, kung mahirap po yung signal, don't worry, you will still have access to the video later dyan po sa may Facebook groups ninyo after po nito. Ayan. So, dito po sa amin actually medyo maulan din. I'm here in Iloilo and luckily, tumigil po yung ulan right at around 5 p.m. So, ayan. Sige po. So, we will now fully begin with this. And if you have been part of our CSE and LET review, you would have received our advanced copy of the items. This will help us in becoming faster po in answering and making our time more efficient. So, my apologies in advance kung mag-exceed po tayo sa 2 hours kasi medyo kailangan po talaga ng lengthy time kapag mathematics ano po. And I will really discuss the full 40 items dahil para din naman po sa inyo. So kung you will stay hanggang 9 p.m. po, that's fine. But I hope you could really extend beyond that para po ma-maximize natin yung time and maubos po natin yung questions na kailangan nating i-familiarize. Okay? So good evening po ulit sa mga kaka-join lang. Ito, directions. So usually in our multiple choice questions in the actual examination, you have certain directions. Please read the directions very well po. Importante po na makita ninyo yung directions because that could dictate how you will answer your items in certain situations. May mga special situations po kasi na nakadepende sa directions kung ano po yung response natin. So please read the directions very well po. So in this case, we are just asked to Eto, studying the series and determining which number is next. So patterns po and series. So you're supposed to identify the item that corresponds to your answer. So it said, now we study the pattern and then identify the item that corresponds to your answer. Ibig sabihin, kung ano po yung choices, doon po talaga kayo kukuha ng answer. Ano po? Yun po pag ito yung type ng instruction na sinasabi. So kung wala po kayong nakitang answer doon, try again kasi baka po hindi nyo lang nakita yung pattern ng maayos. Kapag super wala po talaga, look for the closest possible answer but try your best to revisit the item. Baka po hindi nyo lang na-discover yung tamang pattern. Ano po? So, let's have the very first item. Pakitay po sa comment section, item 1, and then kung ano po yung choice natin. Is it 1, 623, 2, 719, 3, 865, 4, 997, or 5, 1093? So, item, for example, item number 1, and then 1. So, pakitype po ng number kung aling item po yung sinasagutan ninyo and then the choice po natin ng ating answer. And then we will proceed po in a bit doon po sa ating solution. Ayan. Please type po here in our comment section para po makita natin yung pace and ma-observe natin. Ayan. If you have an extra time po, baka pwede rin po ninyong ma-share ano po ba yung pattern na nakita ninyo? Why did you give that answer? Also, by the way, paki-share po ng ating video sa mga kilala po nating kukuha po ng licensure examination for teachers or civil service examination. Paki-share po ng ating video and then hashtag po tayo Gurong Pinoy. And then also, please like, follow, and subscribe po sa ating Facebook and YouTube pages para naman po mas updated kayo whenever we have some announcements or some schedules. Ayan. Si Miss Tess. Well, thank you po, ma'am. That's what we're here for. Kailangan. Thank you po, ma'am. Love ko na mathematics. Napapadali ang pagtuturo ko ng math sa mga students. Nakakakuha po ako sa inyo ng tips para mapadali ang pag-solve ng math. Yes, we are here to make things easier. Not really easier, but more on making things efficient. Efficiency po yung target natin. Ayan. So I think a lot of you have already given your answers and you're answering mostly item 5. So for item number 1, option 5, yung pinipili na karamihan sa atin. So ano po ba yung pattern? So if you try to observe, what I can see here personally is, mind you, possible po na ibang pattern yung nakikita ninyo. As long as you're not doing anything wrong, we would still arrive to the same solution in the end. So what pattern are we seeing here? If you take a look at this one, nag plus 3 po siya. This one is plus 9, plus 27, plus 81, and plus 243. Ano po kaya yung pattern dito? So, paiba-iba po kasi yung ina-add natin. Usually, when you are having something like this, usually yung ina-add nyo, pareho. Yun po yung pattern. Pero, nakita na po ninyo yung ina-add and yet, hindi pa po obvious yung pattern. Well, you could check, baka may second layer yung pattern natin. And that is, in this case, times 3 po siya. Yung 9 times 3 is 27, 27 times 3 is 81, 81 times 3 is 243, which means that our next number, dapat pag mag-times 3 tayo, makukuha natin yung next pattern natin, which is, that's plus 729. So kung plus 729, that means we have 364 plus 729, and it is indeed option 5. Ayan. So congratulations po sa mga nakakuha ng correct answer. Sa mga hindi po, paki-screen cap lang and then balikan po natin later. Or you could always take a look at this in our Facebook na group dahil i-upload po ang first hour nito para sa lahat at para sa mga members po ng ating review groups, you would get access to the entire 2-hour session. Ayan. So please take a look at item number 2. So for item number 2, meron na naman po tayong different na pattern here. So we have 795 and then 2,611, 684, and then 2,722, then 573, and then 2,833. So what do you think is the next number here in our pattern? Ayan, yes, Miss Myra. Myra ba? Mirabella? Or Mirabella? Ayun, times 3 din. Okay, that's great. Sige, ano po yung answer natin dito? So for item number 2, I think quite a lot of you are already sharing. Sa mga may Facebook user po tayo dito, si Sir Sherwin, Ma'am Jess, Ma'am Rose, and si Ma'am Jennifer, Ma'am Lonalyn, Ma'am Clarence, ayan. Clarissa, Jace, ayan. Ma'am Mallory, ayan. It seems that quite a lot of us are giving the same answers. Ano po yung pattern na nakuha natin? So mind you, pattern is not always na consecutive. Tapos meron ding pattern na 2 levels, right? This time naman po, yung pattern natin is not consecutive. Pag sinabi consecutive, magkakasunod. So this one is alternating po yung pattern natin. So ano po ba yung pattern na pwede natin makita dito? So this one has a pattern. And that is minus 111. Meanwhile, yung alternate po dito, meron ding pattern which is plus 111. Ayan. So kung may next number pa tayo dyan, plus 111. Yung hinahanap lang naman po natin is yung next number na kasama po ng minus 111. Ano po? So this is going to be item number or option number 3. Ayan, tama po tayo. So sa mga nakukuha po na correct answers, congratulations. Sa mga hindi po, pa-review lang po ng pattern at paki-discern po bakit po iba yung nakikita natin. Ano po? Right. Let's proceed po sa my next number natin. By the way, if you feel na masyado po akong mabilis, kasi tinatarget ko pong matapos yung 40 items, pag masyado pong mabilis, please let me know para naman po ma-explain natin. Or if you feel na parang incomplete or parang naguguluhan pa rin tayo doon sa explanation, let me know po sa comment section and I will try to explain again or repeat the discussion para po lahat tayo ay maka-benefit. Huwag po tayong mahiya na paulitin ako mag-discuss kung magulo po talaga or gusto po ninyo ng clarification kasi ang end goal po natin dapat maintindihan po ninyo because we want you to be able to answer efficiently and we want you to be part of our success stories here in Gurong Pinoy na nakapasa po kayo dahil po sa experience natin with Gurong Pinoy. Ayan. So for item number 3, ano naman po yung pattern natin? This can be a little bit ayan, confusing if you got the wrong, tawag dito, the wrong decimal digits. So it so happened na parang maswerte naman po tayo dito sa decimal niya dahil hindi po siya, wala po masyadong mga panggulo na items. At ayan po. So dito po tayo, what happens here is, so let's take a look at the pattern. The pattern actually is just the same. So hindi nyo po siya makukuha sa plus, pero makukuha po nyo siya sa times 0.3 times 0.3 times 0.3. Again, hindi po siya na times 3 lang dahil aside sa multiplying by 3, if you notice, nag-iiba rin po yung decimal place natin. So first you have 2 decimal place here. Ayan. Tapos yung next po, nagkaroon na siya ng 3 decimal places. So you're not just multiplying by 3. You're also adding 1 decimal place. Like this one, you suddenly have 4 decimal places. So we expect that in our answer, there should be 5 decimal places. So alin ba dito yung hindi 5 decimal places? So out na ito. Kasi dapat 5 decimal places. Ayan. So 8.0018 times 0.3 is going to be item number or option number 4. Ayan. So you got the answers correctly. May nag-request po ng option 2, ng item 2. Ayan. So pakita ko lang po mabilisan yung item number 2. This is alternating po yung pattern. Meron po tayong pattern na minus 111 alternate, at meron din pong isa pang alternate na plus 111. Hanapin lang po ninyo kung aling alternate po yung karugtong ng unknown item natin. It happened to be minus 111. Kaya po yung answer natin ay naging 462. Ayan. Let us now proceed sa very last, I think this is the last item natin sa may patterns. Yes. So the very last item natin here in patterns. Paki-type po item number 4 and then yung option number na pinili ninyo na sa tingin ninyo ay makakapagbigay ng next number dito sa ating series or pattern. So ano po kaya yung next number in our pattern? Medyo marami-rami po ang number, ano? So if you are observing quite a lot of numbers, there is a purpose kung bakit mahaba yung pattern. Huwag po kayong mag-stop sa first 3 numbers or first 4 numbers and mag-decide na, baka yun na yung pattern. No. As much as possible, try to complete as much as you can. Kasi possible po na meron kayong isang pattern na nakita, tapos akala nyo yun na, tapos sa huli hindi pa pala siya. So, kailangan po ninyong, if you have time, really try to check if the pattern that you suspect you found is consistent all throughout the end. Kasi may mga specific patterns po na magkakapareho yung numbers at the start, but they taper towards a different number in the end. So, paki-clarify po ninyo, siguraduhin po ninyo, umpisa pa lang, manigurado po tayo, wag po tayong mahirap na po yung magkamali. Tapos sa huli nyo pa po pagsisisihan. Ano po? Ayan. So for item number 4, most of you are choosing option number 3. Let us check. So ano po yung pattern natin dito? This is very similar in item number 2 na alternating po yung pattern. At least on my case, yun po yung nakita ko. Ano po? So ito po, this is a +1 pattern. Meanwhile, meron pa pong isang pattern dito sa baba. Sa baba naman po, ano kaya yung pattern dito? Kasi parang medyo hindi consistent yung pattern. Hindi siya multiplication, right? So usually what I do is I try addition first. So +5 siya dito. This is +7. This is +9. May pattern po ba? +5, +7, +9. It seems na nag-a-add tayo ng 2, di ba po? So we are suspecting that the next pattern here is +11. So our unknown here should be 26 plus 11, which is option number 3. Ayan. So I think most of you got the same correct answer. So congratulations po. Hopefully, maging mabilis at magaling po tayo dito sa pattern recognition dahil medyo common po siya. It might not be na magkakarugtong po yung mga pattern recognition na items. So, pwede po na naka-disperse siya kasi 40 items po yung sa civil service na Gen Ed na math. 40 items po yan. Yung sa Gen Ed po sa LET, we really don't know because depende po sa setup nila. Sometimes marami yung math, sometimes kakaunti rin po. So, medyo unpredictable po yung Gen Ed ng LET. But sa civil service, it's definitely 40 items. So, now, let's take a look. Ito, pwede din daw, sabi ni Sir Mike, 2 plus 5 plus 3. Ayan. Okay, yes. Whatever works po. For as long as your pattern works, pwede po siya. So, like I said po, possible po kasi na ibang pattern yung nakikita nyo sa nakikita ko. And that's totally fine. As long as you're not doing anything na mali, you would still arrive at the same correct answer. So, okay lang po kung iba-iba yung patterns na nakikita natin. That doesn't mean that I'm right and you're wrong. So, minsan talaga iba lang. Ayan. So, let's check. Let's check the second set here. We have a different set of instructions here. Please take a look. For each of the following problems, choose the correct answer from the choices given. Yun ulit po yung sinabi, choose the correct answer from the choices given. Ibig sabihin, your correct answer has to come from the choices. So, if you did not see the correct answer the first time around, compute again. Recompute and then check in order for you to get the correct answer. What if ilang beses ka nag-compute, hindi mo pa rin makuha yung tamang sagot? You have the option to skip. Balikan nyo lang po later. What you should do is you mark the closest answer. So, wag po nyong i-shade fully ha. Mark nyo lang yung closest answer kapag hindi po ninyo siya nakuha the first time around and then just answer other items. Do not spend all your time in a single item para hindi po kinakain ng oras natin ng isang item. Baka may iba pa po kasi kayong masagutan na mabilis eh. So, if you got it wrong, look for the closest answer, mark it. Balikan nyo na lang po later kung may time kayo. If you have extra time to solve the item fully, then solve it again. If wala po, like for example, you only have 10 minutes left, then pwede na po kayong mag-shade. So, yung shading po ninyo, at least yung shading ninyo is you're just focusing on the items na mayroon na po kayong initial answer. You are not really doing na, anong tawag dito? You're not just guessing, ano po. So, meron na po kayong suspect na possible answer the first time around. So, yun po yung technique na ginagawa ko whenever I'm answering. I always try to check the time. So, halimbawa po, if it's a 200 item test over a certain amount of time, dinidivide ko na po yan. Ilang minutes dapat per item ang igugugol ko para hindi maubos ng isang type of test yung aking time answering. So, that's what I do usually po. So, for example, in CSE, meron po tayong math, yung numerical reasoning, alam po natin na 40 items yan. So, ilang time ba ang kaya nyong ibigay dyan na hindi nyo nasa-sacrifice yung other items? Time yourself whenever you're answering. So, if you feel na, ay parang sobra na ata ako sa 2 minutes dito or sobra na ako sa 3 minutes, take a guess. You think the closest possible answer, skip. Wag po tayo mag-spend so much time sa iisang item. Ayan. So, item number 5, I think quite a lot of you are sharing your answers already. So, this is a simple na PEMDAS lang po. Right? So, sa PEMDAS, remember that we start always with the parenthesis. So, the parenthesis po, so that is ito. And that should give us 6. So, what happens now is, let's rewrite. So, that's 3 times 6 times 5. This is multiplication na lang po. And in multiplication, it doesn't really matter where you start. Kasi pareho na lang silang multiplication. Personally, I would opt to start here. Bakit dito ako mag-uumpisa? Because this one gives you 30. This ends in 0. Madali pong mag-deal ng mga numbers na nag-end in 0, right? So I would start there actually para hindi ako mahirapan mag-multiply later. And then, ano pa yung hindi ko natatapos? Which means I will only have 3 times 30. That should give us option 5, 90. So when you are trying to check for operations, look for the fastest way to compute. It's not necessary na unahin ninyo si 3 times 6. Pwede rin naman po, but baka medyo mabagal-bagal po yung effect niya. Kasi yung nangyayari po dyan ay magiging 18 times 5. So, ang effect po, medyo mabagal tayo mag-compute kapag ganyang klase ng numbers ginagamit natin. So, diskarte po. If you see a combination of numbers that could give you an easier number to deal with, dun po tayo. As long as you don't violate your rules of operations. In this case, it's PEMDAS. Parenthesis, exponent, and then multiplication or division, whichever comes first, and addition or subtraction, whichever comes first. So, sulat ko lang po ulit para po sure tayo na hindi natin nakalimutan. That's PEMDAS. Ayan po. Take note, hindi po laging nauuna si multiplication kay division. Hindi po laging nauuna si multiplication kay division. And hindi rin po laging nauuna si addition kay subtraction. Whichever comes first from left to right, because MD, same level po, and AS, same level din po. So please take note of that because that might spell the difference in your final answers later. Right. So let's proceed to the next item. We now have item number 6. The average daily income of a group of friends is 825 pesos. If the income of 3 friends are 800 pesos, 750 pesos, and 850 pesos, how much is the daily income of the 4th friend? So in this case, meron po tayong averaging. So average. This is personally one of my favorite types of items, yung meron pong average. Kasi I find na may certain ways to help you answer it faster. Kaya po like, love na love ko yung mga average items na yan. If you're not familiar with it, it might take you a little bit longer to answer. Pero if alam po natin mag-discarte, you could answer this in a faster way. So good evening po sa mga kaka-join lang. Please do write the item number and the option po. Ayan. So I think most of you are okay. May iba po na iba yung answer. Sige. Ayan. So let's take a closer look at this one. What I would do is I would write down yung lahat ng options natin. And in this case, we have, I will start from start to finish. So the average daily income is 825, right? The income of 3 friends are 800, and then meron tayong 750, tapos meron tayong 850, tapos meron tayong fourth friend na hindi natin alam, and then the average is 825 pesos. Now, let's take a look. Target po natin na ma-hit yung average, right? Ito po yung target natin. So that's our target, which means every other income of every friend here should adjust para ma-hit yung target natin. Yung average po yung target. So sino mag-a-adjust? Yung individual na scores or individual na amounts. So si 800, paano siya magiging 825 na average? So it needs to add 25 pesos, right? Si 750 po, yung next po na amount, paano siya magiging 825? So, kailangan niyang magdagdag ng 75 pesos. Ay, ayaw na mag-work ng aking marker. Sandali. Ay, sorry. Ayan. So, you should add 75 pesos. How about si 850? 850 is medyo mataas siya compared sa average. So, kailangan po niyang magbawas para ma-hit niya yung target natin na 825 pesos. So, ayan. Now, put all of these amounts together. Ayan. Hala, Facebook user, turo ko daw sa kanya, 1 daw yung answer. Sure tayo. Sige. So what are we supposed to do now? Ang gagawin po natin ngayon is let us combine all of these na mga dagdag bawas na kailangan natin gawin. So as you can see, meron po tayong plus 25 at saka minus 25. And these two cancel each other out. Which means, ano pong adjustment ang kailangang gawin ni fourth friend? So, dapat si fourth friend daw ay mag plus 75 po yung total natin dito. So, yung total natin dito is plus 75, right? So, what would be the resulting number then? 825 plus 75, that should give you 900 pesos. So, the fourth friend should have 900 pesos para po makompleto nila yung target na average na 825. Okay. So, some of you could possibly get the wrong answer, which is pag nagbawas po kayo ng 75. So, you might get the wrong answer po like that. So, paano po ba natin ma-check kung tama yung answer natin? Another way of doing this is having a little bit of analysis. Tingnan po natin yung average natin. Your average is 825. So, kailangan po natin siyang i-hit, right? So, this one is mababa. This also. And this one is a little bit mataas po. So, kung ang target natin ay ma-hit yung 825, sa tingin po ba ninyo, yung answer na hinahanap natin ay dapat mas mababa o mas mataas doon sa may answer na gusto nating makuha? So, ang kailangan makuha po natin ay mas mataas po sa 825 yung answer. Kasi dalawa na po yung sobrang baba compared sa 825. Tapos yung isang item mo, kaunti lang yung itinaas niya sa 825. So, para ma-hit mo yung average, dapat medyo mataas or may kataasan yung last natin na amount para makuha siya. So, actually, if you would analyze this, may eliminate nyo na po agad si 800 at saka si 825. And si 850 parang mapapaisip ka, parang kulang pa siya or something like that. Pero, you could just do the method that we usually do and then you can have that. So, yung alternative method po ay gaya ng sinabi dito ni Sir Charlie Rivero. So, you could have 825 times 4, ibawas yung tatlong friends and you could still get the same answer. Pwede rin po yan. And you could also do the usual method, which is add 800, 825, 850, and then yung average, i-multiply po ninyo sa 4 and then subtract. So, you could do any method as long as komportable po kayo. Wala pong sapilitan na dapat gawin nyo talaga yung method ko. Because when you're trying to answer po in the actual exam, dapat po yung ginagawa ninyo is yung method na pinaka-komportable kayo at alam po ninyo na doon kayo mabilis. Because whatever might be fast for me might not be fast for you. Whatever might work well for some people might not work very well for you. So, yung comfort level po na habulin ninyo is your personal comfort level. Bahala na po sila kung ano po yung method ng ibang tao dyan. Basta, yung ginagamit po ninyo ay yung kabisado ninyo at alam po ninyo na kaya ninyong gamitin. So, huwag po tayo maghabol ng mga maraming techniques at mga tricks sa mga ganyan-ganyan. Kung hindi rin lang naman po kayo comfortable, you don't have to do that. So, you could use any method. If you feel that trial and error method po, Ma'am Sheila, would work for you, go ahead. Wala pong problema doon. But I would just suggest that if you're doing trial and error method, make sure first that you can eliminate some items na alam naman po natin ay medyo hindi na po probable para po you don't have to try every single one of them. Kasi medyo masyado naman pong effort kung isa-isa, imagine 5 choices tapos each and every one of them you really have to try. So you could already have an educated guess at the start kung alin po yung pwede niyong ma-eliminate para mabawas-bawasan na po yung kailangan niyong i-try. So I am not shaming trial and error method. Just be a little bit smarter when you're using it. Wag po all the time. Kasi minsan mas mabagal po yan. Ano po? If you can answer it in a certain way, do that first. Pero when all else fails, trial and error could work. Yan po yung blessing kapag multiple choice. Pag hindi nyo na po alam kung anong gagawin nyo, you could always do trial and error. Ayan. So for this one, si Ma'am Rose, ito po yung ginawa ni Ma'am Rose. So nag-let X siya. Pwede rin naman po yan. If you feel that you are faster in that method, by all means do so. So yung atin lang po is find a technique that works for you. Kung saan po kayo efficient, mabilis na tama. Hindi siya na dapat magaling yung method mo or dapat na kompleto yung method mo. Basta mabilis na tama. Dahil may time limit po yung exam natin. So in item number 7, I think quite a lot of you are already sharing your answers, right? So in item number 7, 15 is the right answer to which question? So as you can see, meron po tayong different items here. PEMDAS po, meron multiplication, addition, subtraction, and parenthesis. So I suggest you try to do for each of them yung very first item lang po, which is either multiplication or parenthesis. So in the first item, this one here should give you 9. Tapos plus 11, para hindi na siya 15, right? The second item is, let's cross that out. The second item is, you could start with this one, and that is 12. And not just 12, but it's going to be negative 12. So you could sort of imagine na, ay, parang hindi siya pwede. Your next item is, here, this is multiplication siya, 24, tapos meron ka ring 3 dito sa loob ng parenthesis. This is not going to be the correct answer. You don't even have to answer it fully, right? Yung number 4 naman, wala siyang multiplication or anything, but as you can see, meron tayong isang napakalaking negative number here. So this is also not the solution. Check the last one. This is, meron tayong 6. So that's 8 plus 6 plus 1. It is indeed 15. So the correct answer here is item number 5. Again, you don't have to solve for each item fully. Hindi niyo po kailangan kumpletuhin yung method. You could just find one, just a small portion of it, and you could already take a guess if it's possible or not. Hindi niyo po kailangan kumpletuhin or galingan masyado na tapusin lahat ng method. Whichever could lead you to the correct answer in the most efficient way. Fast and correct. Yun po. Hindi lang po pagalingan, but fast and correct. Dahil may time limit po ang exam natin. Ano po? And the math items could really take your time if you try to solve them fully. So be efficient po. Fast and correct. So in item number 8, pa-share po ng answers natin here. Please type 8 and then your option choice po natin. Ayan. So a car arrived at 1700 after traveling for 2 hours and 45 minutes. When did the car start its journey? So familiarize po tayo doon sa regular natin na 12 hours at saka sa may military time po na sinasabi natin, which is 24 hours. So ano po yan? Instead po ng yung 0 hours is midnight and then 1 a.m. So yung ginagawa po natin sa 12-hour period is when we reach 12 noon, bumabalik po tayo doon sa may 1 p.m., right? But if you're taking the military time, hindi po tayo nag-AM PM. So after 12 noon, yung 1 p.m. po, magdadagdag din tayo ng 1 hour, that becomes 1300. And then yung 2 p.m. becomes 14, your 3 p.m. becomes 15, so on and so forth. So, hindi po tayo nag-AM, PM, continuous lang po yung bilang natin ng time from 0, which is 12 noon, until 24, which is 12 midnight, or that is 0, 100 hours for the next day. So, paki-check po natin, ano po ba yung 1700? 1700 is actually, ano oras po? 1700 is your 5 p.m., right? So your 1700 is your 5 p.m. You could do this two ways. You could convert 1700 into 5 p.m., which should give you, so that's 5 p.m. Tapos, bawas natin yung 2 hours and 45 minutes. Bawas tayo ng 2:45. So this should be, kumpletuhin ko lang para makita po natin. So 4 hours, this should be 60. So we will be having 15 and then 2:15 p.m. Or, what I actually did is, eto po, nag-1700 po ako because I'm personally comfortable po ako sa military time. Tapos nagbawas din naman po ako ng 2:45. So this is 1660. So what I get here is still 15 and then 14, 15, which I know is mag-minus 12 ka po ulit. This is 2:15 p.m. So we still get the same correct answer. Ayan po. Whichever method you're more comfortable with, do that. Yung importante po, again, komportable kayo sa method at kabisado po ninyo. So you don't always have to copy whatever method other people are doing, or if someone says na, ay, ito, magaling to, mabilis to, or mas maganda to kaysa sa method mo. You could try it out. If it works for you, do it. If not, wag mong ipilit. Kasi if you're trying to overwhelm yourself with a lot of tricks and techniques, possible pa na pagdating ng exam time, kung nag-memorize lang po kayo ng techniques, possible po na pag na-mental block kayo, mawawala po yan. So important po that you're not just doing your technique, you're also understanding what you're doing. Kasi if you understood what you're doing, or if you can recall actually applying that method, mas madali po for you to remember that when during the exam day na po. So wag lang po tayo memorize, apply it, and much better if you really understand what's going on. Ayan. So in item number 9, what we have here is evaluate your radical expression, 15 square root of 5 minus 17 square root of 5. What we have to remember is, in your radicals, I hope you could still recall our session, I think last week lang yata po ito, yung radical natin na discussion. So for radical discussion, please take note po that if you have radicals, you treat them like variables. Kapag pareho po yung radical, in this case, yung radical po natin ay square root of 5 and square root of 5. Kapag pareho po yung radical, then you could treat them as same na variable, like parang x siya, and you could combine the numbers. Kapag magkaiba po yung radical, you cannot combine them. You could not do anything else to that. So whatever you have there, that's the answer, right? But in this case, dahil pareho po yung radical, it means that we can do something about it. So we can combine the other aspects of this one. So yung 5 at saka yung minus 17, we could still do something about that. So 5 minus 17, of course, you have different signs. So subtract, you have 2. And of course, dahil mas mataas po yung negative na digit natin, 17, it's going to be negative. But that's not your final answer. Kung nag-a-add po tayo ng variable or ng radical, do not forget your variable or radical. They are still part of your answer. So you should still include your square root of 5 in your final answer. Hindi po magically nagdi-disappear si variable or si radical pang nag-a-add po kayo. So the correct answer here is option 3. Like for example, if you're doing, yung alternate po nito is what if binigay sa inyo na item is 15x minus 17x. Parang ganyan lang po tayo mag-compute ng radicals. So this is going to be 15 minus 7. This is negative 2. Pero si x, kakabit pa rin po siya doon sa final answer natin. Ano po? So this is how you answer your item here. Okay? So if you got the correct answer, that's great. If option 4 po yung sinagot nyo, please remember po, hindi po nawawala yung ating option. Okay, may nagtanong po dito, Sir Mike, example ng hindi parehas yung radicals. What if daw po hindi parehas yung radicals? So let's have, say, 15 square root of 5 minus 17 square root of 3. So if your radicals are not the same, then you cannot combine it. Wala pong ang simplified form. This is already your final answer. You could only combine radicals na pareho. Yung hindi po pareho, wala. Wala po tayong magagawa. So that's it. Okay? So, that is if you're doing addition or subtraction. Pareho lang po yan na nag-15x minus 17y ka. So, iba yung variable ni 15, iba rin yung variable ni 17, so you cannot combine them. Yun po yung gagawin natin kapag hindi parehas yung radicals. So, please take a look at our next item here. Item number 10. What would you get if 16 is multiplied by 10 to the 5th power? Ayan. So if 16 is multiplied by 10 to the 5th power, 10 to the 5th power, it means you are just adding 5 zeros or you're moving 5 decimal places. So in this case po, yung number natin 16 is already a whole number, wala po siyang decimal. So pag mag-5th power po tayo, dagdag lang tayo ng 5 zeros kay 16. So whichever has 5 zeros, it's going to be option 1. So kailan magiging answer yung number 5? Kung multiplied by 10 to the negative 5th power, then your answer would have been option 5. Pero pag positive po yung exponent natin, to the right, kapag negative, to the left. Ayan po siya. Let's have item number 11. Now let's try to convert 72% to fraction. This is the type of item and item number 11, this is the type of item na hindi po ako agad nagsosolve. What I would do is take a look at all the options and try to observe. Kasi by looking at the options, sometimes you could get an idea kung ano po yung correct answer. You don't really have to solve completely, right? So in this case, what I'm seeing here is, I am seeing a lot of 25 na denominator. So if I'm seeing a lot of 25 na denominator, that's what I would want to try first. Something that would give me a 25 denominator. What is 72%? 72% po is 72, ay sandali. 72% is 72 over 100. So, most po ng options natin have a denominator of 25. So, what would I do? Try ko pong i-target si 25. Paano ba maging 25 yung 100? Divide natin sa 4. So, yung taas, divide natin sa 4, di po ba? Yan po yung rule natin whenever we are converting something into lowest term, whatever you divide to the denominator, the same thing din sa taas, sa numerator. So, 100 divided by 4 gives you 25, right? So, 72 divided by 4 should give you 18, which means that the correct answer that we're looking for is option 4. Check natin, meron pa bang lowest term? Parang wala na rin. So, that's our final answer. Okay? So, sanayin po natin yung cells natin na wala pong calculator. So, medyo, whenever there are items that you need to solve, take time po talaga tayo. Pagtiyagaan po natin is-solve. Para pagdating po na exam, sanayin na po tayo na nagma-manual solving. Mahirap po kasi pag masyado po kayong dependent sa calculator. It actually happened to me also when I was answering in the various exams that I took. Nung kumuha po ako ng civil service exam at nung kumuha po ako ng LET, nag-take time po talaga ako, not focusing on reviewing for the items, but on practicing my math. Dahil math major po kasi ako, I'm applied mathematics na yung course ko po. Nasanay po ako na nagka-calculator when you're dealing with higher mathematics. So, I really had to practice solving na manual. Nakakalimot na po ako, ano nga ba yung 6 times 3, 6 times 7, mga ganyan. So, I really had to practice. So, take time po tayo sa pag-practice. Right. Option item number 12. If Jenna sews 20 aprons in 40 minutes, how many can she make in 28 minutes? So let's take a look at the item. Your item here po, anong klase po? This is a ratio and proportion, right? Sir Marks, wala pong calculator, unfortunately. Wala pong calculator sa civil service, and then doon din po sa may LET. Ang calculator po ay nandoon lang sa may major. Majoring lang po. Sa Gen Ed wala po. So sanayin po natin ang selves natin ng walang calculator. Anyway, number 12. So tingnan po natin, there's ratio and proportion, but anong klaseng ratio po siya? As you can see, 20 aprons in 40 minutes, ilan kaya in 28 minutes? Habang ang tumatagal po ba, dumadami yung aprons? Or habang tumatagal, bumabawas po ba? So what's happening here is, habang tumatagal, she's able to finish a lot more aprons, right? So tumataas yung isa, yung kabila tumataas din. So this is what you call direct proportion. Pag direct proportion, whatever happens to one part is also similar to the other part. So pag direct proportion po, you could just directly do the ratio and proportion na method. So in this case, you have 20 aprons is to 40 minutes. This should be equal to an unknown number of aprons over 28 minutes. When I try to solve these items, sinusulat ko po talaga yung units para po hindi ako ma-confuse kung saan ko ilalagay, kung sa numerator ba si 28 o sa baba, sa taas ba o sa baba. So pag nagsulat po kasi kayo ng units, less po yung chances na mapagbaliktad ninyo yung mga items na dapat hindi baliktarin, right? So if you have this now, before you do any method like multiplying or whatever, try to see muna if there are items that you could simplify, right? So let's simplify. Yung 20 over 40, they are both divisible by 20. So this becomes 1 and this one becomes 2. So you end up having 1/2 is equal to an unknown amount here over 28. So ano na pong pwede natin gawin dito? You could do the butterfly method. Butterfly method is this equals this, which gives you 14. Or what you can do is 28 divided by 2 times 1. You could do that also. Kung saan po kayo mas komportable, use that method. Okay? So let's proceed doon sa next item. It seems marami na rin po. Yung ayan, si Miss Christine made it a little bit more complete. So every 2 minutes, you're able to complete, or Jenna is able to complete 1 apron. So in 28 minutes, ilan? So you could also do that complete method po. Pero take note lang po, make sure lang po that doing it completely will not compromise your time limit. Yun lang po. But if it helps you po understand the item and make sure na hindi po tayo careless sa pag-answer, by all means do that. When I answer po ako personally, pag nagsasagot po ako ng math, medyo mabagal po ako. Not because hindi ko alam kung ano yung ginagawa ko, but I just want to be sure na tama po yung ginagawa ko. Kasi sometimes, pag masyado po tayo nagmamadali, that's when we commit errors. So you really have to be careful with what you're doing. So let's have fill is 4 times. Ito po, this is an age problem. And honestly, age problems are really time-consuming to solve. It takes a lot of analysis and critical thinking to really take a look at the items. So what would I suggest? Pag may age problem po, wag na po tayo magpatumpik-tumpik pa. Mag-trial and error, that's totally fine. So first and foremost, try to analyze line by line kung pwede po may ma-eliminate tayo na items. Pero wag po kayong mahiya na mag-trial and error. Kasi po, sa totoo lang, pag masyado po kayong precise and correct lang po always yung method ninyo, it would compromise your speed. So, whichever works best. So, diskarte lang po. This is Phil is 4 times as old as his niece Sandra. So, take a look at every option. Dapat yung edad po dyan ay puro times 4. Pag may answer po kayo dyan na hindi times 4 yung combination, eliminate it. So, let's see. 2 and 8 times 4. 3 and 12 times 4 times 4. Ayan. Oh, unfortunately, puro times 4. Wala po tayong may eliminate. Now, let's take a look at the next line here. 10 years from now. 10 years from now. So ano po yung 10 years from now? Let's add 10 to every age, right? So remember po natin yan. 10 years from now, he will be twice as old as she will be. So 10 years from now, so si Phil will be twice as old pag nag-add po tayo ng 10. So let's see. Plus 10 is 12, 18. Times 2 ba? Hindi. Let me use a different. 18. So hindi siya times 2. Let's see the next one. Plus 10, plus 10. Hindi rin siya times 2. Plus 10, plus 10. Hindi rin siya times 2. Plus 10, plus 10. It is times 2. So that's your answer. You could answer this the traditional method by using your table. This is mabilisan lang. How to answer this with the method. You have Phil, you have Sandra, you have now, and then you have 10 years. So you could do that. X, 4x. Sorry. This will be S, 4s plus 10, s plus 10, and then 4s plus 10 equals 2 times s plus 10, but that's time consuming. You could do this method, you could still arrive at the same answer na S, Sandra is 5, and then Phil is going to be times 420. However, it will be time consuming. So, kung pwede lang naman po kayo makapag-discarte using the available options, do that. Wag po mahiya. Okay? Wag niyong ikahiya si trial and error method if it's the most efficient. Remember, in answering po a multiple choice question in numerical reasoning, we are looking for the most efficient method. Mabilis pero tama. Take advantage of the choices. Okay? So, next set of directions. For each of the following problems, choose the correct answer from the choices given. If the answer is not in the choices, choose 5. So this is what I'm saying, that you really have to read the directions carefully. Sometimes po,